Welcome to Animania Chronicles, where we dive deep into the captivating worlds of anime, dissecting stories, unraveling characters, and sharing our passion for all things animated. Join us for the thrilling grand finale of our viral hit review series. In Part 9, we delve into the final confrontations and the ultimate showdown that determines the fate of our heroes. Don't miss the explosive end to this epic anime journey. Soon, the video about teaching the comedy crew a lesson is uploaded, and it gets 3 million views in 1 week. The bullies try apologizing to their audience and promise to change, but after what they said about fooling the audience, no one trusts them anymore. Eventually, they end up closing their channel. They even lose the guts to bully Gil anymore. However, there is another trouble brewing somewhere. As Bommy returns home from work late at night, she is constantly terrified and on the watch for a stalker. Suddenly, Hoban texts her, saying that going home alone late at night is dangerous, especially when she has felt a stalker chasing her recently. He offers to walk her home, but she politely refuses. As she is lost in her screen, she bumps into someone, and a look of horror spreads on her face as she sees the gigantic frame of her stalker. He is Manji, a Korean sumo wrestler who wants to make Bommy his at any cost. He calls her cute, licks his lips, and then creepily gets close to her as he reminds her that they are alone right now. Suddenly, Kim arrives there out of nowhere and grabs Manji's hand. He asks Bommy if this is the idiot who was stalking her, but before she can give an answer, Manji grabs Kim's neck and tells him to get lost. Kim begins to fondle the blobs of fat on his chest and says that the first step of combat is to get your opponent worked up. That is the same line Hoban uses, and Manji asks him if he is a viral hit ripoff. Kim just smirks and tells him to test it out if he is a ripoff, saying that today he will show how to beat a sumo wrestler. As a pro fighter, Kim puts Manji in a complex armbar and uses his entire body weight to force him to tap out. However, Manji uses his incredible physical strength to simply lift him up and tries slamming him to the ground. His empty hands hit the ground as Kim swiftly moves away midair. He remarks that fighting Manji is like fighting a boar, so he will also stop considering this as a match. Manji rushes at him like a wild boar, knocking Bommy down in the process. Just then, Hoban arrives and charges at Manji while screaming frantically. A few minutes earlier, he got concerned when Bommy suddenly stopped responding to his text and rushed towards her. When he saw the fatty knocking her down, he charged at him in blind rage. Manji is not just an ordinary sumo wrestler. He practices traditional Korean wrestling, which is like sumo but more brutal. At the age of 17, he reached the peak of the Korean wrestling world. He loves wrestling, but more than that, he loves girls. Also, he hates men, and the more handsome they are, the more passionate his hatred becomes. He once beat down a bunch of guys who were trying to protect a girl from him because he can't let anyone have romance in his life if he doesn't have it. The next day, after Hoban's encounter with the giant insult, he has lost all his cheerfulness. He hides in the broom cupboard, muttering that he got humiliated in front of Bommy again. Snap and Jill are there to check up on him, and they tell him that he should be grateful that Kim was at the location or he would have really died. As for getting humbled in front of his crush again, Snap suggests Hoban forget it because he can't pick up a fight with Manji like he did with Pac. Hoban also thinks that the fear he felt when Manji slammed him to the ground was so great that he has lost all confidence in himself. Snap tries to comfort him, saying that Manji is a wild animal and the only response to seeing him should be to run away and call the cops. He is grateful that at least their viewers don't know that Hoban lost to Manji. Just then, Jill checks her phone and gives the two boys the worst news possible. It turns out that Manji also has a YouTube channel and he posted a picture of him defeating Hoban on it. Because of that, the viewers are going crazy and making up a lot of things that are ruining Hoban's image. Snap is totally freaked out now. He wanted to let time pass and bury this incident, but now that the viewers are involved, it has blown out of proportion. Their viewers seem like they want them to challenge Manji for a revenge match, but Hoban seems too out of it. Jill tries deleting the malicious comments and tells Hoban not to worry about anything. She sees him lost in thought and asks if he is thinking about fighting Manji again. But then Snap says that he won't allow it. He tells Hoban that if he wants to keep being a YouTuber, he has to survive. If he fights Manji, he might really die or end up in a wheelchair. Snap declares that he will solve this problem for him, and while Hoban agrees, he feels that his chest is heavy for some reason. At night, Snap live streams an explanation video and tells the viewers that the encounter with Manji was purely accidental. He apologizes for any confusion, and thanks to the sympathy of the viewers, the public sentiment shifts in their favor. However, Hoban feels even more gloomy that he doesn't have to fight Manji now. He wonders if it is because of Balmy, because earlier she texted him to make sure that he doesn't fight the perverted beast. She told him that she was worried that he would get hurt, but Hoban wonders what will happen if he doesn't take on Manji. He believes that the sumo wrestler will keep harassing Balmy, and he doesn't want that to happen at all. To get his mind out of those morbid thoughts, he decides to watch some YouTube videos. He finishes a mukbang video, and then suddenly, the next video on his feed is Coachman's How to Be a Sumo Wrestler as an Ordinary Person. Hoban gets his hopes up, but Coachman tells him that there is no way for an ordinary person to beat a grappler. Hoban checks all his videos, but there is nothing about beating people who practice wrestling and other grappling martial arts. He feels a sharp pain in his heart that there is no way for him to beat Manji, but then he realizes that this intense pain might not exactly be because he is worried for Balmy. Suddenly, he gets what has been troubling him all this time, and his eyes sparkle at this discovery. The next morning, Hoban calls Snap, who is coming to his home anyway. Snap begins talking about how he changed the narrative in their favor, and now they don't have to fight Manji, but Hoban seems to have other intentions. He has a portable camera mounted on his head, and he is cycling towards the market where Manji works. Hoban tells Snap that he is going to challenge Manji to a fight, and the flustered Snap can only tell him to stop. However, Hoban has realized that he has become addicted to adrenaline. He doesn't care if it comes with the excitement of a fight or from fear, he wants it. That is why he approaches Manji, who is overseeing some pig carcasses. Hoban taunts Manji, asking if he is waiting in line to get processed. He knows that this might not end up well for him, but he still wants to fight. He begins calling Manji foul names and then suddenly starts fondling him. Hoban's comment section was already going crazy about him fighting the sumo, but they completely lose it when they see him harassing the big guy. Manji is also furious now because he doesn't like being groped by random guys. Hoban's chat room believes that he is high on adrenaline, which may dull pain, but it won't stop him from dying. However, he has some reason for this confidence. Earlier, he found a video of Cockman that told him about a few things he could use against a grappler, and even though it was not a complete guide, Hoban has decided to try it out. Soon Snap also reaches the location, and he begins filming the fight with a better setup. T is watching this stream while exercising in his gym as well, and he believes that Hoban doesn't stand a chance to win in this fight. However, he sees the determination in his eyes that reminds him of the last night when he suddenly arrived at his house. Hoban asked the irritated T to teach him the back kick because a clean hit can instantly knock out any opponent. However, T reminded him that he promised to kill him the next time he saw him. He unleashed his back kick on Hoban, but Hoban was wearing a bag filled with books in front of his belly to dull the impact. Despite that, Hoban was down on his knees, and he realized that the kick right now was too powerful compared to the time he fought TT, then told him to call out Snap right now if they want to live. And while gasping for breath, Hoban declared that Snap is not here. He said that he is not here for content, but to learn the back kick. T asked him the reason for that, and Hoban decided to suck up to him to get accepted. He declared that Taekwondo is the greatest martial art because nothing hurt more than those powerful kicks. T was sold just with these words, and he decided to teach Hoban his ultimate move. Back at the market, Hoban suddenly attacks Manji with a calf kick as he feels adrenaline pumping in his blood. His viewers are also happy about that, but unfortunately, it did no damage to the muscular giant. Hoban panics and begins kicking him again and again, but everything is useless. He now begins to regret his decisions and the joy that the adrenaline rush brought him. He wonders why Manji is not even showing any reaction, and then suddenly, the Korean sumo takes off his apron. Seeing his bulky build in tight-fitting clothes for the first time, Hoban realizes that he was not a person, but an oncoming truck. Manji asks him what was with the pathetic kick, and Hoban suddenly remembers Cockman's words, who told him to run away if he ever gets in a fight with a practitioner of traditional Korean wrestling. Following his words, Hoban starts running, but backwards. Half of his viewers are confused by this, but the other half think that he is surprisingly fast. On the other hand, Hoban yet again regrets picking a fight with an opponent much larger than him. Meanwhile, Snap says that Hoban has grown stronger because running backwards can help him keep an eye on the enemy while fleeing. He begins hyping him up in front of their audience and says that Hoban already has a plan. He believes that Hoban plans to lure Manjeet with his hit and run technique, and the slow fatty won't be able to catch him. Everyone agrees with Snap. But then Gil joins the chat and calls everyone a fool because they think Korean wrestlers are slow. She asks if they even know what the wrestlers do for basic training. They run on sand at full speed for their basic training, and right now, Manjeet chases after Hoban at full speed. However, his face is suddenly greeted by Hoban's fist, who knew about the training and speed of Korean wrestlers. Cockman had told him that you can't run from Korean wrestlers, but you can use it against them because every creature is most vulnerable when running. However, that proved to be a lie in this case because Manjeet simply grabs both of Hoban's hands and lifts him up like he is an empty plastic bag. Hoban is shocked at this and then decides to use his secret move to fight back. He slaps Manjeet's hand and frees himself, then decides to take him down by the baseball choke. However, as he tries reaching around his neck, he finds that he can't do that because Manjeet's neck is like a tree trunk. He keeps trying to get his hands behind his neck, but it seems impossible. Now Hoban panics because his calf kick, punch, and even the baseball choke have become useless. Manjeet tells him that he will punish him for touching his head, and Hoban wonders why that is. He wonders if that is a weakness of grapplers that even Cockman doesn't know about and decides to test his theory. He punches Manjeet's head, infuriating him even further. As a result, Manjeet suddenly grabs Hoban and slams him into the concrete floor below with a frontal suplex. Hoban coughs out blood, and his viewers are sure that they heard something snap. He realizes that this is vastly different from fighting other people because Manjeet is someone whom he just can't beat. He passes out, and he is not even disappointed at his loss because he acknowledges that this was the only result possible. Snap begins crying and says that he told Hoban not to fight the giant monster, but then his viewers tell him to pay attention ahead. Manjeet has a big black thing in his hands, which looks like a spine, and everyone is confused about it. Hoban is also back on his feet, although he looks like he is on his 20th shot of vodka. The black thing was a spine protector that bikers often use, and that protected Hoban from fatal damage earlier. Snap tells him to give up now because he has already done enough and asks him to run. However, Hoban stands there in front of the charging Manjeet, saying that strikers are not weaker than grapplers. T agrees with him and says that no striker is inherently weaker than a grappler, including Hoban. He once again recalls how Hoban came to him to learn Taekwondo's ultimate move. Seeing him, T remembered the time he went to his Taekwondo dojo and was furious to find the students doing their school homework there. He yelled at them that this is not the place to do their homework and told them to get out, but his dad, the dojo master, asked him to calm down. He said that since MMA is so popular, no one wants to learn Taekwondo anymore, so he can't make a living just with that. T began to cry at that because his dad had promised that if he came first in the next tournament, he would give it his all to teach the students some good Taekwondo. He was furious that his dad was coming up with excuses now, and he swore that he would beat MMA fighters with his Taekwondo one day. So earlier, when he got the chance to train Hoban, he took full pleasure in it. He called Hoban cute because even his elementary school Taekwondo uniform was too big for him. Hoban was terrified of his intensity and began practicing under him nonetheless. The first thing T made him do was run backwards, and he could not understand why he was being made to do that. Hoban asked him why he was training to run backward when he wanted to learn the back kick, and T told him that this is the exact training method for learning the back kick. Back in the market, Hoban yells that he is going to use a move that will lead to a knockout if it lands properly, and then begins running backward again. Manjeet keeps following him, but then Hoban suddenly turns around on his heel and uses a powerful back kick aimed directly at the giant's future generations. Well, T had asked him to target the enemy's solar plexus, but apparently hitting the grown upgrades the back kick to Nutcracker 3000 and makes it much more effective. Manjeet is almost knocked out with that one kick, but Hoban wonders why the solar plexus feels so odd to hit. He notices where his kick landed, and he and his entire male audience can share Manjeet's pain for a moment. Hoban apologizes to him, and Snap thinks that kicking an enemy in the groin during a street fight should be acceptable. Just then, Manjeet suddenly lifts Hoban up, and everyone fears that Hoban will really die this time. Manji gives him the front suplex, and Hoban wonders what he can do to get out of this situation before he hits the ground and kisses the world goodbye. He realizes that he has to grab anything he can find, and he swings his hands around until he reaches Manji's hair. He grabs it tightly, and what happens next stuns all 30,000 people watching the fight. Hoban feels no resistance as his hand tugs on Manji's hair, and his hand keeps coming down as he falls. Hoban realizes that what is in his hands is actually Manji's wig, and the giant wrestler with a hair loss condition is absolutely mortified. A few moments later, Hoban and Manji are sitting side by side, forgetting their enmity. They crack open some soda, and Hoban tries to comfort the depressed Manji, hoping that one day they will find a way for him to grow back hair. He talks about how he had heard that sportsmen get all the girls, so he became one. But he was still not popular compared to the good-looking guys. He keeps munching on hair growth supplements as Hoban asks him why he picked a fight with Kim earlier. Manji says that it was because Kim kept following Bommy, so he thought he was a stalker and just wanted to help her out. Snap and Hoban tell him that he should have approached more cautiously because Bommy was scared of him. He tells them that they are wrong, showing them a master's guide on dating that says girls like strong men. Snap and Hoban immediately realize that Manji was not a bad guy but only misunderstood because of his threatening size. He suddenly starts crying and asks Hoban if he will ever get a girlfriend. He says that the whole reason he started a YouTube channel was to meet a girl interested in him. Both Hoban and Snap start crying over a bro's sad story, and then the three of them shed tears for many minutes. After that, Manji leaves, saying that there is no hope for someone like him and he may never find a girlfriend. He apologizes for all the troubles so far, but then Hoban suddenly stops him and shows him the support he is getting from the public. A lot of people can relate to his struggles with his looks and medical issues, and they tell him to cheer up. Hoban tells him not to give up now because his journey is just starting, and as he reads the positive comments, Manji is moved to tears. With that, Hoban declares the end of the viral hit live stream. Kim can only smile as he sees this ending, and in her cafe, Bommy was also watching this while hiding behind the counter. She smiles to herself, but just then some customers come in, so she gets busy with them. T is also impressed by the live stream and decides to resume his practice. Even Pac was watching the live stream. At night, Jill is also moved to tears as she edits the video and hopes that things work out for Manji. The edited video gets 3 million views and gathers some new subscribers as well. Snap is pleased with the progress they are making and he laughs, saying that this is all thanks to his planning. He doesn't even mind not earning much from it because he believes that by the time he reaches 20, he might even become a movie director. However, he suddenly gets a message that leaves him utterly baffled. Meanwhile, Hoban is going to visit his mom. He is happy that he talks to Bommy daily, doesn't have to worry about expenses, and even the loan on their house has been almost completely paid. His mom asks him why he is so happy and inquires if he has got a girlfriend. Hoban says that he hasn't got one yet, and then his mom remarks that the debt collectors have not bothered her lately. He tells her that it is because he has got a new part-time job that is paying him really well. She wants to make sure that it is not a shady job, and Hoban asks her to trust him. He can't tell his mom that he gets into fights and gets beaten up for money, but then she says that she will come work with him when she gets out of the hospital. Hoban panics and says that she can't do it because he doesn't trust her fighting ability. Hoban's mom suddenly remembers that a nurse was looking for him earlier and tells him to talk to her. He is surprised and also a bit nervous, but he leaves to see her anyway. On the way, he wonders what his mom will think when she finds out about his YouTube content. The nurse gives Hoban good news that a kidney donor has been found for his mom, and the date of surgery has also been set. He is really happy on hearing that and asks the nurse if his mom can start living at home now. The nurse pats his head to comfort him and then tells him that the surgery will be quite expensive, but Hoban has that kind of money. He texts this good news to Bommy too, and she is also happy for him. He then meets up with his friends and hugs Snap as he tells him that his mom's surgery date has been decided and she can soon leave the hospital. Snap congratulates him, and Gil is also very happy. Hoban is, of course, the happiest of all because he is getting constant good news lately and is no longer a lonely loser. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out this brand new anime about a loser who gets reincarnated as a prince with godly abilities. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the vast realms of anime. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for more thrilling reviews and discussions. Until next time, keep exploring the boundless wonders of anime with us.